Should we harmonize, Pete?
How would we do that? I mean, like, clear eyes.
Clear eyes.
Queer eye.
Can't lose.
Can't lose.
Queer eye. Queer eye.
Clear eyes.
Is that guy still alive?
Ben Stein? I think he is, and I think that he's a...
Ben Stein is Ben Simmons' dad.
Nope.
This is Chris Hansen.
This is TJ Hushmanzada.
Chad doing Rip City Radio here.
This is Jamie Hudson.
And I need to let y'all know something. You're listening to...
You're listening to...
And you're listening to...
It just makes sense.
This just makes sense.
It just makes sense.
Woo! Way better than Chris
Yeah,
Hansen.
seriously. I want to get involved in the rigging of Fat Bear Week.
In relationship to Fallout Boy...
Oh, Fallout Boy. People are...
Oh, Jesus. Oh, my God.
I'm sorry. Yeah,
Oh, we got it.
cut that.
Like, someone should hire you to be a protester. 4 bills dead weight. They're not getting you off that court.
They look at me and I'm like, I fucking dare you.
That's what I'm
I
saying.
dare you.
I mean,
There's no
like,
tractor. There's nothing that can...
They gotta be forklift certified.
Oh, I can't be a Cowboys fan because of this moral high ground that you are on. Bite me. Eat me.
Bite me. Eat me. I mean, gosh.
I'm so sorry to everyone that we just did that to.
Everything I just said before that, I just made that shit up.
Small enough and dumb enough.
Small enough, dumb enough. That's what we want.
That is It Just Makes Sense.
We should just have, like, True Hollywood Story follow us around. That'll be our content. For all the funny shit.
Let's call E. That's the first
Well, yeah,
step.
let them know that, like, hey, this this Vanderpump thing has
You're
very
gonna
much
want to
run
follow
its
us
course.
around.
That's bravo, Peter.
Oh, sorry.
We say some pretty great shit, man.
Yeah, no one's banging anyone's significant other. Like, what's going on in Vanderpump? I don't even watch Vanderpump and I know what's going on.
Who cares?
The internet.
Yeah, you're missing out.
The internet cares. The internet
Braxton
cares a
only
lot.
watches Burt Kreischer. That's why he
Who?
doesn't know what's
Who?
happening with Pump. What's his name?
Bert and Ernie. Bert and Ernie.
No, the Barstool guy. Burt Kreischer?
Oh, he's not a Barstool guy.
But I mean, you watch him. He's your favorite.
I actually don't. He bothers me quite a bit. I do see why he's funny to some people, but he has this very high-pitched laugh. When he thinks things are very funny, he just starts squeaking, and I find it incredibly annoying. So to be honest, I'm not the biggest Bert Kreischer.
Kreischer 300.
The Kreischer 300. We are a lot richer after whatever happened this past weekend, which was we were sitting around, we were enjoying our drinks out in the sunshine out by my fire pit, and I go, you know what? It's summertime. This fire pit is about 8 years old, and I
Beat the shit.
it just beat to hell. It was like probably like the first big purchase that my now wife and I made, and we weren't even married at that time. So it's like 8 years old, and I was like, I'm just gonna get rid of it. I'm just gonna put it out by the curb. And you're like, I'm gonna sell this for you. I'm gonna put it up for $50.
60.
Or $60.
OBO.
Or best offer. You got 7 hits.
7 hits. All interested.
It's incredible.
And it was picked up today.
And it was picked up today.
For how much, Pete?
$60, not negotiated. The picture that he posted, they were not good photos. Like, I mean, this
One
was...
photo.
Yeah, it was one photo. It was one photo, and let's see. I don't have it on my phone here.
It was on Messenger.
Oh, it was on Messenger? Hold on one second.
I mean, I just took a picture while we were sitting out with like all the empty beer cans and shit.
Yeah. So for our
cobwebs.
It was so bad for our YouTube audience, and we'll describe it for our Spotify. It has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 beer cans, a half drank cocktail from the previous night, and it has a plate over 2 of the cans that you decided to make an ashtray. And
an actual ashtray.
An actual ashtray, which was not used.
And then in
or
the
was
middle
wide
of
open.
the fire pit, there's a Bluetooth speaker.
Yeah, that's on the lava.
I'm
rocks
surprised
itself.
no one made an offer for the Bluetooth speaker.
That is
We
pretty
were
funny.
ready.
So the title of it is Fire Pit with Character. Many nights spent around friends having drinks and enjoying the fire. Originally purchased for $600. Take it for $60 or best offer. And you got hit up seven times, and you told me someone is coming to my house at 5:30 today. If you sold it, you were going to get half of the proceeds to go towards your dinner. And they came. I turned it on. It worked. It was so gross. Like, all the paint was chipped. The thing is that this thing is black. I spray painted that. So as I was cleaning it, like, the spray paint was coming off. So I had to, like, stop cleaning it for the sake of, like, the paint chipping off. So
I really hope that the
terrible.
people who bought it stumble into this podcast.
I think I
to
kicked a
see this
hole.
shit.
Yeah, I kicked a hole into this thing.
As
So-
one does.
As one does. And so now, no more fire table. R.I.P. You served yourself well.
It sounds like you're ready for a new fire table. Well,
When this
What's
person,
that saying?
it's in a good home, Pete.
Yeah.
One
exactly.
man's trash is another man's treasure.
Right. So you can't sue me.
I think that's how it goes.
We did say that it was old, and you could see all of the wear and tear. So buy at your own risk.
And honestly, I think there might be an advantage to posting a picture with all this shit on it, because when they show up, if they've accepted it at this state and they show up and it's cleared off, it's clean, they're like, wow, this is so much better than I imagined.
I cleaned it, yeah. I killed a really big spider that was nesting itself in that.
I'm so
in those
proud of
lava
you,
rocks.
Pete.
It
Are
was
you okay?
terrifying. I squealed.
This picture is what sold it.
I squealed just like the guy that Miguel was texting with over text message.
I was bored.
Take it away, Juan. I will love to hear you tell this story, because I just saw this over a Facebook story.
I had to share it for people to see. It was a good read. But I did get a random text Saturday night while we were together. And it just said, hi there, do you have any openings? And I didn't respond until this morning, Monday morning. And I said, openings for what? And he's like, massage. And at that point, I had a decision to make. I'm either going to fuck with him or say wrong number. But I wanted to fuck with him. So I said, what kind of massage? And he says, deep tissue. Oh. And I think I said,
you know that's something good.
happy ending or no?
Yeah, you asked you said happy ending or no, and he replies with yes.
Yes.
And your response was
I
extra $40.
I said extra $40 for HJ, $50 for ZJ, and $100 for all J. Before I continue, the number of messages I got from my friends asking what a ZJ was, I was like, I don't know what a ZJ is.
Nobody knows.
Nobody knows.
But it's $50.
And-
And then he responds with FS question mark.
Which
So
I had to
Google.
Google.
I had to Google that,
Yeah.
and apparently in the Craigslist or sexual world, it's full service.
And you did this during work, so I'm assuming you did these searches on your work computer.
I just Googled FS on the work computer. Yes.
So yes.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes,
Just
I
one
did.
search. And I FS, and then I go, it depends. Do you want me to tickle your feet? At that point, if you think this shit is real, like, it's on you. And he said no, so I said $250
$250
for full service. And he didn't even negotiate.
No, he said, can I come today? It says, you can come CUM today. Get it? Smiley face.
That really made
That's
me
a
crack
response
up.
I would have.
The fact that you put get it.
He responds back, oh my. With a
Oh
heart
my,
and
with a
smiley
heart
face.
emoji.
He was rock hard.
Yeah, so you arrange for a time at 10 a.m. You said, let me check my schedule. I'll get back to you. The guy says, okay. You say 10 a.m. is fine. Don't bring a condom.
I live life a quarter mile at a time.
The fact that anybody in this business would suggest, yeah, come at 10 a.m. That's prime time when you're horned up and ready to
Prime
go.
time.
And what masseuse does happy endings that say, "Don't bring a condom"?
Yeah.
I live life on the edge. Like, why
Well, a
would
happy
you buy that
ending with
shit?
just like a hand job, I don't think you
This is
necessarily-
full service, though.
Oh, okay. Yeah, you're right. You're right.
His response, is there parking?
Well, this is
After you drop a quarter mile at a time.
Well, this
on
is
it.
where I took it to the next level, because then he asked for pictures, and I said, no, that's too risky. You're about to see the real thing soon. Just wait.
Yeah.
And I said goodbye or something like that.
Mhm.
And then he asked for the address. This guy's in Hawaii. So when I was talking to him, he's 3 hours behind me. He's asking to come at 10, which is 1 p.m. our time in the West Coast. We were 2 hours away from the appointment. So the way that I wouldn't get caught is I asked him, where are you at? Where are you coming from? And he said, Eva Beach. So then I went, yes, work computer. I did. I thought I had one search on the work computer. I typed happy ending massage places near Eva Beach. And it showed the third one down the list on Yelp was a Thai massage place. I copied the address. I sent it to him, and he said, cool, is there parking? And I didn't answer that part, I don't think. And then he responds with, is there a door I should look for? Sorry, I just don't want to be weird and walking around looking for you. So I just made up saying there's a brown door with a blue sign that says welcome. And then we ended there until I got here.
Until tonight, where we instigated more.
I got here tonight, and I'm like, I wonder if the fucking appointment actually happened. So I texted him, and I said, could you please leave a review? And then he responds with, where should I leave the review?
Which either at this place it happened and that's like the biggest coincidence, or he's equally messing with you.
Yeah, he's either messing with me or it actually happened. Like, I've arranged from 6 hours away this whole thing,
Yeah.
and it happened, and now he
great
hasn't
wingman.
he hasn't sent a review yet. I asked him to text it back to me so I can just put it on my site.
I have a question. Does this make you a pimp?
Yes.
Technically,
One, the pimp.
well, I'm like Will Ferrell from The Other Guys,
So a pimp?
Yeah, so so a pimp.
and I'm not getting paid.
Yeah, you
I
need
don't
to
even
get
get a
that.
cut?
You
You
shake
need to
this guy
get that
down.
30%, dog.
I'm gonna shake this guy down.
Damn, man.
You should text him and be like, "Hey, don't forget to send me
Yeah.
my 30%."
So you asked for the review.
Nothing yet.
Nothing yet. We'll report back. But he was very willing. Very willing. Has that ever happened to you where you've gotten a random text message, Braxton, and you've played along with it? It's happened to me.
I haven't done something like that since like early 20s, to be honest.
Yeah, I mean, it's been a minute for me where I got a random text message that was like, hey, Carla, I'm not going to be able to make it to marching band practice tonight. I've got a test to study for. Like, I hope that's okay.
What'd you say?
And then I said...
What'd you say?
And then I... so I said, actually, it's not okay. If you don't show up tonight, consider yourself out of the band. And she calls straight to voicemail, and I didn't have I just had the robot one, so it's not like my voice on the voicemail. And so then I let it stew for probably like 15 or 20 more minutes, and then I go, actually, hey, this isn't Carly, you got the wrong number. Everything's good though.
Good old
Hope you get a
Carla.
good A. I hope you get a good grade on your test.
I think the
that a
only
dick
time
move?
I've done anything close to this, at least to this extent, have I ever told you guys the Stacey Galehart story? Chase Wild, attorney at law's next door neighbor.
I don't think so.
Well, I'll try to summarize it. The
I
closest
think so.
I've been is Chase lived in this town called Fruit Heights, very, very nice area. When this family moved in next door, and they had this girl that lived there that was just our age. She was very pretty, and we wanted to do anything we could to hang out with her.
Yeah, you told us about this.
We did. I did. So essentially, the story goes, I convinced her that I had a friend from England, and that
You're doing your accent.
yes, and then I basically catfished her. Essentially, I put on this fake British accent and convinced her to break up with her boyfriend to be with
It's
me.
incredible.
And she never saw me, never met me. And then at the end, we were just like, "Yeah, it was Braxton the whole time." Ha ha ha. And
Got him.
Did she break up with her boyfriend?
yes,
Oh,
Wasn't
Yes.
going to last anyway.
yeah. I mean, we were all like 14, 15. So
did you get a ZJ?
I'd rather not say.
Yeah.
That's
I
pretty
know, at least you
personal.
get yourself a
That's
ZJ out of it.
pretty personal.
You would think that's got to be a sign that this guy is playing along, right? Because if you're on the other end of this, wouldn't you ask what a ZJ is or an all J? Because what the fuck is an all J?
I
How
mean,
many
the all
J's do you
J,
have?
the
The
all
only-
J is a little intuitive. I have no idea what.
I mean, there's a lot of steps throughout this process that I would have been like, okay, this is not. But I can imagine being so caught up in the horniness that you don't care.
Or
a ZJ exists.
What is it?
what's a ZJ?
A ZJ exists.
What is it?
The term ZJ is often referred to as when someone receives oral sex while sleeping. So you could have a massage, which is very relaxing. Guy falls asleep, and then
He's just on
You
top of the
wake up,
lingo.
you
you
wake-
backdoored your way.
Honestly, honestly, could you imagine you just are like being, kind of woken out of your slumber to like, oh my God, I'm about to bust. Like that would be an incredible way to wake up.
$50.
Yeah.
50 large.
All right. Go to
50
sleep.
large. No, just 51s
Just
actually.
$51 bills. Way to find your way into a.
Man,
And he
ZJ.
Googled it and was like, "Oh yeah, that sounds."
He was
great.
like, I'm actually really into that.
Never had that before.
Didn't
That's
know.
It's a premium service.
Didn't
guess
know,
you
but
could-
I am.
I guess you could look at this whole conversation from his point of view, and you're like, how would you not catch that this is fake or someone's fucking with you with the ZJ or tickling your feet or come get it, all this stuff?
I mean, like, if you are, there are a lot, and I mean a lot of gullible people.
well,
Yeah.
There
gullible,
are.
and also
Especially the horny ones.
this could
Yeah.
also be a guy that's like
There's so
hiding
many,
this shit from his wife.
maybe there's so many dumb
know?
criminals and so many.
You just broke up a family, Miguel. He had 3 children.
He was good. He was looking for happy ending anyway.
says the fake British guy. What was your fake name?
Oh, I think it was like Trent,
Trent.
Jamie
Okay.
Oliver.
which is not. How do you even say
Uh,
Trent in a British accent?
Just,
Trent.
No.
Trent.
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 Twit.
Stop trying to say a cuss word.
Twit.
Are you trying to say twat?
Twit.
Wow, there you went. There you went.
Twit.
Oh, that's definitely the worst thing we've ever said.
I know, exactly.
Twit.
The big mystery, right?
Big
The big
mystery.
mystery.
No review.
No review yet.
No review yet.
Big mystery that is also plaguing the NBA right now is actually how Karl Anthony Towns sounds when he speaks. Have you
It
guys
changes.
Have you guys heard him switch all over the place when it comes
Yeah.
to him talking?
It changes. It's weird.
I didn't realize it until I saw it today, and then he was on a podcast recently with
Paul George, right?
with Paul George. So I'm going to play the first one here. It is, something that I didn't know existed until now. And here is Karl Anthony Towns.
This is what movies is made of.
This is what movies
This is what movies is made of. 4 months away, I come back, 2 free throws. Don't worry about it. I got that.
It's crazy because after all that, they took him off the court to put him even closer to the locker room. So I was like, all right.
That's how he really sounds.
No.
Yeah, that's how he really sounds.
Do we have more examples?
We do have more examples, in fact, but we're going to play that part again.
2 free throws, don't worry about it. I got that.
It's crazy because after all that, they took him off the court to put him even closer to the locker room. So I was like, all right.
And so recently, and this is where I was like, there's no way, because I was listening to that interview with Paul George, and Paul George has like a booming deep voice. And so I think that either Cat was trying to mimic him or something like that. Hold on, we've got an advertisement. And then he just kind of forgot that he was on camera or something. So I will play the beginning part here. You'll hear his voice inflect a little bit differently.
Circulated around the league about Jimmy Butler kind of going off during that practice when you guys were both in Minnesota.
Like going off on like
I just know that he was competing
like on the coaches and stuff.
I don't really know the whole
story. You got to walk us through it. You got to set that up for us. Set that scene for us. Because outside looking in, like we was like, damn, it's total chaos in Minnesota right now. Like,
no, for sure.
It was like Jimmy versus Minnesota. Like that's what like I took away from it. Like
for sure.
Damn, it's total chaos in Minnesota right now. Like,
no, for sure.
It was like Jimmy versus Minnesota.
For sure.
How is that his voice? I mean, casting the first stone or throwing the first stone here of a guy who has an incredibly awkward voice. I recognize that.
For sure. Yeah, you should have let somebody else bring this up.
Maybe.
I mean, that is odd. It's very different from that, on the court interview. That's for sure.
It's very different.
That's for
sure.
That's for sure.
And like when I do this podcast, I inflect my voice a little bit differently. I take it a little bit more from the throat. Like if I were to inflect a little bit,
and I'm the last to judge. I know that I have kind of a little bit of a effeminate voice, but a little bit more treble in your voice. But
sure.
That's different.
That's like changing.
It's like kind of Valley Girl.
Yeah,
for
sure.
For sure.
You think he's doing it on purpose?
I don't know.
You can't be.
No, like the thing is that the one that you're hearing about, that the for sure is the real. Everything else is like you're really conscious of it.
He's like, all right, I gotta deepen my voice now.
Exactly. Let's listen to the whole thing again.
Went off during that practice when you guys were both in Minnesota.
Like going off on like
I just know that he was competing
like on the coaches and stuff.
I don't really know the whole story.
You got to walk us through it. You got to set that up for us. Set that scene for us. Because outside looking in, like we was like, damn, it's total chaos in Minnesota right now. Like,
no, for sure.
It was like
the facial expression for sure.
It's wild.
It's total. It's like he was in Clueless. Total Valley Girl.
A very Valley Girl.
I love that
Just
for him,
embrace
honestly.
it.
I hope he embraces it.
Oh my God, Cher.
Because I had a triple-double tonight. It was fucking lit.
It was so lit.
I got that.
It's crazy because after all that, they took him off the court to put him even closer to the locker room. So I was like, all right.
Honestly, I hope he embraces it because he's a very good basketball player.
Yeah.
And it would be really great and quite funny
here's the thing.
to see him do interviews for the rest of his career. Like
I am not making fun of the Valley Girl voice.
You totally are making fun of the ZJs.
No, I think
It's
that you
just
should embrace. I think you should just embrace it.
It's just
embrace it.
You look at him as like a dominant, athletic man, and that is just not the voice you expect.
He's catfishing.
You guys are both trying to be politically correct by saying he should just embrace it. There's not one thing that's out that says he's embarrassed of it. We're literally just bringing this up, not like Cat's going, "Oh, this is my voice."
Well, it's obvious that it's sometime in some of these, like obviously he's talking to the crowd. It seems as if he's not doing his real voice,
Right, because that live stream, that longer one here, is one where he didn't know apparently that it was being taped or live streamed or something like that.
That's what I'm saying. Is it seems that in some moments when he's in front of the crowd
Creeps
or
out.
whatever, he's maybe not doing his natural voice, but when he was doing the interviews or the podcasts, it slipped out more. It's like, just do it all the time.
Or you could be seeing that his deep voice, his non-Valley Girl voice is coming out like after an adrenaline-filled basketball game.
Sure.
And when he's sitting around and just relaxed on a podcast or whatever, or normal conversation, then his real Valley Girl voice comes out.
And maybe his voice actually like changes a little bit because you're screaming all game.
Full service.
There's no loopholes when it comes to that. No loopholes.
Full service.
So many holes.
full service.
Not any loopholes. Oh my God, Kat.
There is, however, a loophole in which you can declare yourself eligible for the NBA draft.
I've tried.
Recently, there was
done that.
A student in college who was studying to become a contract lawyer, and he hadn't graduated yet. But he read over the collective bargaining agreement to see what you have to do to become eligible for the NBA draft. Not that obviously you're going to get drafted, but just to be part of the pool. And he found that if you are 19 years of age or older and still enrolled in college, and you submit a letter of intent that you want to be in the NBA to this specific email, in which they will respond and send you an application to fill out, which you return, you can then become eligible to be in the NBA draft.
Do you have to be enrolled in college?
Mm-hmm.
Because
what about the international players?
Yeah, like the kids who are just 1 year out of high school.
Right. There's a different classification for Europeans in which they would come in as free agents, essentially.
Well,
is it just a different classification?
But even outside of going to Europe, like what LaMelo did or what Brandon Jennings did, the rule is if you don't want to go to college, as long as you're 1 year out of high school, you can enter the draft. So that's where I'm asking, like, where does being enrolled in college play a part into it?
We're definitely 1 year out of high school. I would like to be a part.
I might have to go back for some credits, but
I will ask our contract attorney. However, there are now a ton of people, because you have to declare within within 60 days, and May 22nd is the day, Monday today, that you had to get your application in. It's the 60-day window. So bunch of people have been doing it.
Wish you would have told us that earlier, Pete.
Bunch of people have done it. We wouldn't be eligible at this point.
You don't know that. We could be.
We're not enrolled at a college currently. There's other nuances as
ITT
well,
Tech.
But
just give me 60 minutes, I'll be enrolled.
Sign up for University of Phoenix or DeVry and then enter the draft. Mm-hmm. I would have done that.
Would you go to DeVry?
Probably.
Oh, I was waiting for for sure.
Oh, for sure.
I was like baiting you on that, but
I didn't want to keep making fun of Kat, okay?
Mm-hmm.
So
yeah, move on, Peter. Jesus.
Of course not. Okay, well, do you want to move on? Are you team wash rice or team not wash rice? I need to ask this question.
Like the rice before you cook it?
Yes.
Yeah.
You're a fucking psycho if you don't wash it.
Agreed.
Really?
I didn't know there were teams.
Yeah.
If
I don't wash my rice.
That's fucking disgusting.
Okay, that's a wrong,
really?
Yeah.
Dude, I rinse my rice like 6 or 7 times.
Your rice is
before.
always sticky?
Uh-huh. Yeah.
You got to wash the starch off of it.
You gotta wash it off.
Also, there's shit in there, like the little particles that come out when you wash it. I wash it like I rinse it 6 or 7 times before
until the water comes out clear.
Totally clear. Okay. I had no idea that I was like that was such a polarizing thing. I saw this today.
It's not. That's just the way you do it. There's a right way and a wrong way.
Okay, well, I will share this video with you guys because I thought it was kind of interesting that he was so excited about how clear his rice was.
Well, probably nothing to see here. Just some rice. In water. that you couldn't tell was in the cup because I washed my rice so well.
That's intense. I mean, I apologize. I didn't realize it was that intense.
Yeah.
I mean, I do wash my rice, but not like that.
It was such a big deal that you had to talk about it.
Are there really is there really a movement out there of not washing your rice?
I don't know if I just take the steps or whatever. Maybe I'm probably just in the minority apparently. At official IJMS, let me know team wash or team no wash.
There should be
rice.
no teams.
That's
just like
the way you do it.
Yeah.
I don't know about that.
It's like, oh, you want want smooth sailing or you want to bite your dick? Like that's not. No one chooses the other one.
What's wrong with sticky rice?
If you're making if you are not making jasmine rice and you're making sticky rice, you still rinse it. It doesn't matter what rice you're making. You still rinse the starch off of it. You don't take a long grain rice and think, I want this to be sticky, so I'm not gonna wash it. You can buy sticky rice and you can buy jasmine rice.
You still wash the sticky rice.
You still wash it.
Every rice.
All the
rice you wash.
All the rice.
All of it.
And I cook a lot. I didn't know that this was such a big thing. I'm so sorry.
Jeez.
I'm so sorry.
I don't forgive you.
How many times have I eaten white rice from you?
Too many.
A good number of times, yeah. And I've done it on the and this is probably why you don't like it very much. It does get kind of clumpy on occasion, especially when I do on the stovetop.
You know what? This makes a lot of
so
sense
much
now.
Sense.
You made rice for the huli chicken at Jordan's bachelor party in Sun River.
So wet.
And it was wet as fuck, and
it
they
was
were
so
in
wet.
balls.
Mm-hmm. I was also drunk, but yeah. It was bad rice.
It wasn't about the alcohol.
I remember making that rice and remembering how bad it was. But you were like, "Oh, I ate a lot of that." I'm like,
"Oh yeah, it doesn't
matter.
Thank you.
Thank you. So sorry."
Well, now you know.
I'm gonna try washing it now. See how it goes.
I was talking to Miguel about something earlier, and we both were like, "Oh, let's talk about this on the podcast," and I can't remember.
Yeah, so you got to write it down. We're too old to remember these things.
On the way here.
Yeah, it was like right when we were walking in.
Well, you guys think about that while I bring up the NBA playoffs.
Never heard of them.
We just watched the Denver Nuggets sweep the Los Angeles Lakers.
Fucking pathetic showing.
And by the time this podcast comes out, we may see the Denver Nuggets or the Miami Heat sweep the Boston Celtics. We will kind of talk about it in a bit of abstract terms.
That's probably likely. The Celtics seem defeated.
I mean, and if the Heat don't win this game, they're going to win the next one. So let's just call it a done deal.
Yeah, I mean, never, ever has someone come back from a 3-0 deficit in a championship series.
And this Celtics team is not going to be the team to do it.
You can also see in the players' faces like when they've killed your spirit, and the Celtics did not look good last night.
I mean, it was a 28-point loss, 26-point loss,
but it could have been way.
Yeah, they were up by 31 at one point.
Way more.
You don't rebound from that. No pun intended, but you don't.
And especially when you get, the series is on the line. It totally changes the dynamic of everything.
And you're at home.
You're at home. Yesterday, or I guess for Game 3, the Celtics were on the road, right? So the Celtics were on the road for Game 3.
Oh, yeah.
But they lost both their games at home.
Court. Yeah.
Right. And so then you have Gabe Vincent putting up 29 points on you, more than both Jaylen Brown and Jason Tatum combined. You have an undrafted free agent who is outscoring you by himself. It's embarrassing.
That's embarrassing.
It's pathetic. It's everything. Like, there's just absolutely no way to
this does debunk
to justify it.
What about the script?
Yeah, right.
What's the script?
It was interesting because did you guys see that floating around earlier this week? There's supposedly like a quote unquote script that was leaked, and then like none of it came true.
No script would ever come down to the Heat and the Nuggets in the finals.
No,
this is Adam Silver's worst nightmare when it comes to ratings.
And I mean, I remember last week saying that there's no way that is going to happen because it's the NBA's worst nightmare, especially when you have the opportunity to have the Lakers and the Celtics. But yeah, I mean, you get Boston. Maybe they win a courtesy one. Maybe.
Yeah,
but I mean,
I can see it being a gentleman's sweep. But again, I think maybe if the last game was closer, then they fight back.
Right.
But that was just such a demoralizing win or loss, I guess, in the Celtics case. Such a demoralizing loss that you can't really rally the troops. You know what I mean?
Right. No amount of times of watching The Town is going to make this better.
No.
Joe Mazzulla apparently watching The Town.
Still have never seen that movie.
4 times a week.
Is that with Ben Affleck?
Yeah, that's
where they're all doing the bank robberies in or in the nuns' outfits.
Of all the movies, why the fuck does he watch that 4 times?
Because it
It's
embodies Boston.
It's
yeah,
a Boston
that's what he
movie.
said. Maybe you should work on game film and prep a little bit more.
It's really interesting though because as much as I watch college basketball, I do not remember the Celtics coach, and I saw a photo today that he played for West Virginia. He was a point guard for West Virginia, and they got knocked out of the NCAA tournament by Marquette. Guess who was leading Marquette in that time? Jimmy Buckets.
Interesting.
Yeah, he was the point guard for the West Virginia team that lost to Jimmy B, Marquette in the NCAA tournament.
Damn.
Yeah, and then you kind of forgot a little bit about Joe Mazzulla because he had some like domestic violence stuff, and then they're like, "Hey, we're gonna get rid of Ime Udoka," who was basically
is that a requirement to be a Boston Celtics coach? I guess.
No, it was just kind of ironic that they got rid of Ime Udoka, who was having an affair with like a internal employee with the Celtics, and they're like, "Oh, you're suspended for the year. Our interim coach is going to be Joe Mazzulla." And you go, "You realize that this guy has some stuff too, right? It's just not right now stuff." Either way,
people forget.
People fuck. Let it happen. Get him back.
Exactly. For sure.
I mean, don't meet their husbands and wives at work all the time.
Totes. Shit where you eat.
Yeah, exactly. Okay, so the Lakers had every chance to win games 3 and 4, failed to do so.
We're up by a lot.
Ran into Nikola Jokic, and Jamal Murray, and the cast. I mean, it's just like such a deep roster at this point. That's playing so well.
It's Denver's time, and I want to see Jokic win a championship.
I mean, maybe this is showing my age, but like DeAndre Jordan is on that roster and gets no minutes.
Yeah. But Tristan Thompson got minutes for the Lakers tonight.
Good for him.
That?
Was Chloe in the crowd?
No, Kim has been in the crowd a lot more recently.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Wonder which Lakers she's hooking up with.
Exactly.
Austin Reeves?
Dude.
No, I heard the...
Yeah?
Dude.
What?
I don't know. I just like...
What if?
What if?
What if, bro?
Gosh, like Austin Reeves goes from like, I mean, like the first time in pros that we ever knew about Austin Reeves was when like LeBron was explaining all that stuff to him, and he just like looks like so just like, you know,
deer in the headlights.
Deer in the headlights. Thank you.
Or he ran in.
And now he's this. He's going to be commanding like $20 million a year and banging Kim K. What a
Some
time.
of that is assumed.
All of it's assumed.
I heard it's D'Angelo Russell though.
D'Lo?
There are
D'Lo
rumors
Russ?
floating around.
And Miguel has the T in the NBA, apparently.
You do.
You know.
You got the plug, as they say.
None of my business.
For sure.
For sure. Oh my God, Cher, I had a triple-double.
Rude.
But what do you guys think? Do you think that this series would be any different for I'm going to go back to the Celtics, for Boston, had Grant Williams not poked the bear and gotten in the face?
No, Jimmy was already going off.
Jimmy, but I mean, like they were up by like a dozen at that point. It wasn't wise to do that. It was not wise to do that.
I said I think it was last week that Jimmy Butler can win 2 games out of this series by himself. And I think those are the types of moments, and it's the small things with people who are fucking nuts like Jimmy Butler, and they have that competitive spirit and at an all-time high. All it takes is just those little things, and you can look at it as from an outside point of view and be like, oh no, that wasn't it, or that wasn't a big deal. And I agree with that in most cases, but like, it's the little things, like in the Jordan documentary, it was the little shit that made him fucking nuts and made him go off. And I think it's kind of that same thing with Jimmy Buckets. Although it may not seem like it's a big deal on the outside, those are the things that like keep the motivation going and make it so it's like I refuse to lose. You know what I mean?
Sure.
I think we should also give some as much. We as fans tend to look at NBA coaches and like, you know, the players run this. It's like as a coach, you don't really do anything. But I think you have to give a little bit of credit to coaches that know how to do certain things, like change rotation, see what's working, and be able to make those in-game decisions. And one of the most underrated coaches in the entire league is Spoelstra. Yeah. Eric Spoelstra is one of the best coaches in the NBA.
I learned on a podcast I was listening to, he's never won Coach of the Year.
Nope.
Huh. That is the most incredible thing to me.
So underrated as a coach.
Who won the year that, like, the first Heat season?
Well, he lost a lot to Greg Popovich.
Sure.
You have to remember, like,
we'll
Spurs.
Talk about the Spurs here in a second.
Spurs dynasty. But Eric Spoelstra, he's so fucking good. He is such a good coach. He just knows the organization inside and out. And yes, he has the advisory led by Pat Riley, but you know, he sees what's working. He's able to play the Caleb Martins and the Max Strus and the Gabe Vincents, knowing that, okay, this person is going to give more than an experienced playoff player like Kevin Love or Kyle Lowry or whatever. And making those little adjustments matter in the playoffs. Mr. Carvin Ham wasn't able to do that.
Yeah.
You know, and yes, it's different with the Lakers because LeBron's technically the coach. Like, you would say that Frank Vogel probably didn't matter much in that bubble championship. That was LeBron ran team, but I don't know. I think Spoelstra should get some credit.
Well, and not only that, but it's not as if he's like a figurehead. You know, he's very much like active, engaged. Remember last year, right? I think it was towards the end of the season in which Spoelstra and Jimmy Buckets got into it during a timeout. They were screaming at each other, and then Udonis Haslem got into it, and it was just like, holy shit. Like, it was. Do you guys remember what I'm talking about?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah, and it was.
And that's not the first time. He got into it with Dwayne Wade. Remember the 2011 with the Heat? Him and Dwayne Wade were screaming at each other on the bench.
Yeah, and he's not afraid
to
stand
fiery
up
coach.
to guys in that moment.
But that, I mean, if he's having those kinds of pissing matches against Dwayne Wade and Jimmy Butler, and he's still standing the test of time, I think that is even more proof to the fact that, you know, I just can't believe he's never won Coach of the Year. I mean, he's if you're looking back at the last 20 years, he's a top 5 head coach.
I think in the history of the league, he's top 10.
Yeah.
Like, going all the way back to the beginning of the NBA, I think he's top 10.
But he hasn't won himself a championship recently. You think that if he loses, he gets fired? It's stupid. It's a a rhetorical question because there's like no way. But I mean, it follows the trajectory of a lot of coaches.
But I don't think that Pat Riley plays by those rules. I don't think the leadership at Miami, they haven't shown that kind of. I think a lot of these teams don't have like any like history of like winning or anything to hold on to, and they're making, you know, rash decisions.
Yeah,
you know what I mean.
I think as underrated as Eric Spoelstra is, he is different than the recent 4 coaches that got fired. I think he holds a place as a coach on that team where if things go wrong, the finger doesn't get pointed at him.
No,
I think he's earned where he's at, that they will change something before getting rid of him.
Exactly. No, I know. I was very much being crass.
In the times that we're in, it's not crazy to think about.
Yeah, because like Nick Nurse, Mike Budenholzer, Frank Vogel all found their ways out of a job. I don't know if any of those guys are Hall of Fame coaches.
Remember that coach that he was like the all-time winningest coach in European basketball history.
Oh yeah,
became the coach of the Cavs.
Oh gosh, that's gonna bug
David
me.
Blatt.
Yeah, David Blatt. Good pull.
David Blatt, and then didn't he have some sort of like?
He got fired, and then he lasted 1 year with Phoenix, and then they dumped his ass.
But
I'm
what did he
pretty
do?
sure.
What did they do with the Cavs when he was the coach? Did they win?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that was his resurrection season.
And then they bounced him.
Yeah.
Just nothing. You mean nothing to us.
Oh, okay. No, he got fired that year, but he still accepted a championship ring. So they
they had a switch mid-season.
They had a mid-season switch, correct?
And Lou take over, or Tyronn Lue took over.
Tyronn Lue took over. Yep, that's exactly right. And David Blatt still got the championship ring. Hey-oh!
Man,
and
ruthless.
then Tyronn Lue ended up taking the Cavs job like more permanently, and was like had to take a leave of absence for just like his own mental health, which makes sense. Sure. Having to deal with the LeBron James type of a team.
It's a cutthroat world, man.
Well, someone who's gonna be not necessarily out of a job, but is chosen to be out of a job. Congratulations to Carmelo Anthony on his 19 seasons in the NBA. He has announced his retirement.
Was he on a team this year?
No, but he just decided to announce his retirement.
He's FA, man.
Yeah, he made this like.
Thank God he got all those medals in the Olympics.
Right. A Hall of Famer for Melo, obviously, from the scoring perspective.
Carmelo, he's a likable player.
Yeah.
I mean, you would have to come up with reasons to not like him.
Yeah, I mean, there's so many superstars that advocated for him to be on a team this year.
Like, players loved him. Coaches, he wasn't a problem child. Like, he was a good player. Melo was an incredible scorer, but he was not a winner. He just wasn't a winner. He is not the guy that you would look at the way that Kobe ran the Lakers, the way that even LeBron. He just wasn't a winner. He was a scorer. He's like James Harden.
And honestly, that's why I loved when he was on the Blazers, because I think that it was a time in his career where he realized he wasn't the number one man. He was willing to take that secondary or tertiary role, and it was a lot of fun watching him play in Portland. But good for him.
I mean, he was a guy who was actually able to like command his shot, even with CJ and Dame there, who were ball hawks.
He had an unstoppable jump shot.
Yeah,
it was.
He was just so long. He just found a way to get above everyone.
He sure did. You know who else will have a way of getting above everyone is Victor Wembenyama, who will be going to the San Antonio Spurs here in a couple of months.
What if they don't
the
draft
NBA
him?
Draft. Oh, come on. They just go, Brandon Miller, come on down. And it was interesting because as he was, he had been playing in where was he? He was playing professional basketball overseas in France. And so he wasn't even there for the draft lottery. And then they are showing him live stream, and then, they got his reaction when teams weren't selected. Do you see him fist pump when the Houston Rockets didn't get selected? Legitimately was like, yes, I'm not going there.
I don't blame him.
Yeah, that's where players go to die. I don't want to be there.
But, I mean, what do you guys think about the Spurs getting another just gift basket by the NBA?
That would be, I mean, if we're not counting, because technically you kind of lucked out with the Ginobili and the Tony Parker, but knowing that you're getting a lottery, a multi-generational player, David Robinson was the first one.
Yep, followed by
Tim Duncan, and then now they're going to get this kid.
And he's coming in, he's not like, what was Stilts from last year? The Gonzaga kid.
Chet Holmgren.
Yeah, it's like players like that where it's like that it's going to take time for them to grow, to build muscle, to build mass, build their game, whatever. Like Wembenyama is coming in NBA ready. He is thick, he's huge, he's ready to compete against anybody out there.
Yeah, I mean, I agree with everything but him being thick part. He's
still wiry.
He's still a little wiry. There was a photo.
But he's wide.
Yeah.
He's broad as hell.
I mean, there was a photo of him and Rudy Gobert standing next to each other. Made Rudy look like an average human being. It was wild.
Do you agree with like the argument or the debate that he's like the greatest prospect in team sports?
Right now, I mean, like he's gotten, the LeBron James effect that there hasn't been someone as touted as this since LeBron. So I don't know. I mean, like I've seen some of his highlights. Obviously, everyone knows about the missed 3 putback dunk that he did earlier this season. You hope that people can just avoid injury, and the fact that he's not going to the Blazers means he at least has a fighting chance of not being injured as a big man.
Yeah. I do think it's exciting that the Blazers got the 3rd pick. I don't know what that means.
They're moving that pick.
Yeah,
though.
I mean, like they were supposed to be like probably like 5 through 7 or 6 through 8. So the fact that they jumped to 3 is actually really good for them. The fact is that what it meant, if they didn't get the number 1, they would have kept the team together at number 1. However, now shopping that 3 becomes an interesting one. Not only that, but because of the way that they have the number 3 pick, they can't trade it until draft night. Or they can have because that's Chicago's pick, and they got it from Chicago. So it's gonna be like really electric when it happens, because you may have a deal in place, but no one's gonna know about it until draft night. So they can't make this splashy move ahead of time. So it's going to be really cool, whatever happens. But we'll navigate those waters when we get closer to the draft. They want some kind of a superstar, or they want like a star small forward, and they're willing to get rid of Anthony Simons or Yusuf Nurkic for it. But then again, you go like, who's that guy that you would send a 3 and a small forward?
If you send a 3, the 3 is probably Scoot Henderson, he's going to be really good.
Yeah.
You send number 3 pick, get rid of Simons, get rid of Nurkic, and then throw somebody else on there. Because really the only people that you care about keeping in Portland, keep Jeremy Grant, keep Dame, keep Shaedon Sharpe, right? Get rid of those guys, and then get Zach LaVine and Vucevic. They get a way better big man, way better than Nurkic. I mean, Vucevic averages a double-double every night. And then you have Zach LaVine as a wing with Dame, Shaedon Sharpe, Vucevic, and a couple other young guys. That looks like a good lineup to me.
I'll take it.
I wouldn't. I think that at that point, that's not a championship team to me. It's a contending team, but what are they trying to do at that point?
That's the best you can do if you're Portland.
I think that's the best you do. So then you look at that, you say that's the best you can do. That's not winning you a championship, so blow the whole thing up.
Is there a chance Portland can get Joel Embiid?
Why would you want him?
I think he has 1 year left on his deal. So you trade for him, you trade the 3 for a 1-year rental potentially on him, maybe a sign-in trade, and you get to sign an extension. But I don't know exactly how that whole situation works of eligibility for signing extensions and such.
I don't know. I just feel like the years are waning with Dame. Does Portland go all in and say, "Hey, we're gonna try to get us one before Dame leaves inevitably or retires or whatever"? We go for an MVP who's not happy where he's at, can contribute to a team, has another all-star there with Dame, has young talent around him. Is it a possibility?
I just don't see how Embiid's current situation would look improved going to Portland. You're just flip-flopping James Harden and Dame, even though I think Dame's better. But you have a ball-hogging center. Embiid is not grab all these he needs to score. He demands the ball. So would Dame. You saw what happened with the Sixers. James Harden had to give up the scoring James Harden to feed Embiid to get 45.
I will update on the Joel Embiid contract. I was incorrect, actually. He is under contract through the end of 2026, in which he has a player option through 27. So, possibly. It depends on like where Philadelphia thinks they can be. Obviously, they fire their coach. Does that appease James Harden? And do the Sixers want James Harden, who is looking for an extension? And so then you just say, hey, is this the core that we're going to ride with? They could, in theory, try and just, try and get rid of all that cap, let Harden walk, and then you're restarting.
Yeah. Because
if you think, like, where are we at with Embiid right now? What does the team look like versus, you have to make that tough decision.
Yeah.
You're kind of entering a new era. You've made that decision by getting rid of Doc.
The tough thing with Portland, though, especially if you're a fan of the Blazers, is like, okay, if none of these moves work because this doesn't look like a championship team, this is not going to happen overnight, and you blow up the whole thing, what faith do you have in the organization that they can build into something with a good roster of young core to be there in 3 or 4 years? Because you see Oklahoma slowly starting to do that. Memphis was starting to do that. Sacramento starting to do that. What does Portland look like with a blown-up roster to start from scratch? When you get rid of who are you getting in return? Their organization is so bad. They're so bad at decision-making and picking up players that are you going to end up with a bunch of G League players that's, what does the future look like?
Yeah, I mean, I guess potentially. I mean, you get rid of a player for a ton of picks and maybe a prospect or someone who takes a lot of money that you can then cut, and then you just kind of roll the dice, or then you use those picks to potentially build around and restart. So that's kind of where I think you're at. But
sad time.
It
for
is
the
a
Blazers.
bit of a sad time for the Blazers.
Yeah, in about 4 or 5 years, it's gonna be real sad for the Blazers.
For sure, yeah.
I mean, I think there's a possibility of maybe like keeping a plateau trajectory, maybe with a little bit of incline, but it's only going down.
It's like the peak of the Blazers is you're making it to the playoffs, you're going past the first round, and then I could easily see them in like 2 years, maybe 3, become the Detroit Pistons of today.
Okay,
or Houston Rockets.
So I have a question then. If we're looking at the Denver Nuggets as a case study, the Blazers beat the Nuggets in 2019 to go to the Western Conference Finals. By the end of 2021 season, they had blown everything up because they go, we've peaked, right? But the Nuggets haven't done that.
No.
I mean, they rode it out. They got Michael Porter Jr. healthy. Jamal Murray's healthy. They've seen guys like Will Barton and Gary Harris go away. Those guys were foundational to their success. But then, you make the trade for Aaron Gordon and everything. You just stayed the course and you said, like, this works. We just need it to. And I thought that the Blazers more or less were just. I think that they probably could have made it work. I don't know. Like, maybe that's just like...
The difference between the two organizations, though, is Blazers have seen their full roster healthy, and that was their peak.
Yeah, that's true.
It's smart for the Nuggets to not blow it up because they have not seen their roster peak with healthy players until this year. There's an entire season and a half they didn't have Michael Porter Jr., who was a lottery pick. And then, when he was back... They lost Jamal Murray from an ACL tear. They haven't seen it in full, like the full roster healthy.
Yeah.
And now you're seeing what they can get out of that team.
And the Blazers were never able to like be in contention for a trade for a guy like Aaron Gordon because they never had the trade assets at that time. Mm-hmm. Denver did, and they found a way to, not manipulate, but build a roster in which they have contributors from everywhere.
But that's also where good management and good coaching comes in handy because when the Denver Nuggets didn't have Porter Jr. or Jamal Murray, they were able to develop other players like who Aaron Gordon's become since moving there. Because then he becomes this technically second guy behind Jokic who was dropping 18 and 11, and then you have your other stars come back, and yeah, he might sacrifice a few points and a few rebounds, but he's still the player that he's already become. And then you were able to pick up pieces like Bruce Brown and the kid from Kansas. You know, these supporting role players that is a perfect complement to whoever they have as a starter.
Isn't it wild that Stan Kroenke owns the Rams, and he owns the Nuggets, and he owns the Colorado Avalanche? All of these teams are winning.
Arsenal.
He owns Arsenal.
Arsenal's winning this year.
Yeah, that's pretty wild.
So it looks like it's going to be Heat Nuggets, obviously.
Yeah, by the time we have this pod next week, we will be mid NBA Finals.
So where are we at as far as bets? Who do we think? Do we want to make further bets?
Denver winning. I lost 50 to Peter, so I took the Lakers for the series, and I proposed either paying 50 tonight or letting it ride double or nothing, where he gets to pick a team for the championship, and I have the other.
Yeah, he asked me if I wanted to go double or nothing, and I said, for sure.
For sure.
For sure?
For sure.
And you have not made... We're doing that bet.
Right.
But you haven't picked a team.
I
just
am
waiting.
leaning Nuggets, but I will have my selection.
Yeah. And then for me and Braxton,
we're
going to be even because it was double or nothing, my favor, and Miami's probably going to win. And then we're even, and you can throw out a new bet if you'd like.
Yep, that's where we're at on the bets.
So, going into the finals, we're assuming that the Heat are going to win. I don't see the Celtics coming back in any way, shape, or fashion.
No, especially after how that beatdown happened.
Agreed.
In Game 3.
Do we have any bold claims on who's winning? Because I really see this as a very 50-50 matchup.
You do?
Denver, Miami?
Yes.
Oh, man. You'd like to think Denver can't be stopped right now. I think an opinion I wouldn't disagree with is it's, like you said, it's Denver's championship to lose.
Yeah.
But the way Miami's been playing, it's like you can't just count them out.
I could not agree more. That's almost my exact opinion. Is I feel like if Denver comes in and somehow, especially if it gets into a long series, Game 7, and Denver can't close, that is going to be so disappointing. Just for everybody in general, not even if you're a Denver fan. You have the MVP. You've handled business in every single series previous to this, and to a kind of, subpar Miami Heat team that has, this star player, and you couldn't get it done. I
to
don't
an
know.
8 seed.
Exactly.
Yeah, a play-in 8 seed.
Exactly. But then again, you look at it from the other end, and it's like it's the fucking Miami Heat. It's Jimmy Butler. They're electric. You can't count them out. You just can't.
Yeah, and they have been dominant. I mean, they took out the number 1 Bucks. Yeah. They're manhandling Boston, who are the preseason favorites. It's pretty impressive what they've done. Meanwhile, Denver, they've taken care of business. It hasn't been the gauntlet that the Eastern Conference has.
The thing that I see with the Heat is they've been able to bully teams because they're like the hungry underdogs. You face Milwaukee. You're not supposed to beat Milwaukee. You're not supposed to beat Boston. But they kill their spirit, and then they go in for the kill once they smell blood.
Yeah, they were still hitting threes. Gosh, it was
and
just
you have guys that are like, you're playing these guys, and it seems like half of their roster has something to prove.
Oh, yeah,
and they're
absolutely.
out, and they're it's like you're watching a fucking NCAA tournament. Like, these guys are out there, like, trying their hardest. I think the one team you can't bully this season is Denver. You know what I mean? It's like back when Kevin Garnett tried to talk shit to Tim Duncan. It just doesn't work.
Yeah.
Talking shit to Jokic doesn't work. Like, Jokic will get his. He's so fucking good that he'll get his. He won't hear you. You won't get in his head. It would be stopping everyone else. It would be the matchup of I won't even say, I was about to say that Bam is the key. It doesn't matter. Jokic is going to get his over Bam. It would be what the Heat does with Porter Jr., with Jamal Murray, with Aaron Gordon, with Bruce Brown. And I think they have the dogs to fucking take care of those guys. But it's still, they're both so deep that I think I would love for it to go 7. Just for it to be exciting.
I think I'm leaning towards the Heat, but I'm been so cold in my picks, honestly, that makes me think that it's going to be Denver.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of people thought it was going to be 7 games for both series, and these may very well end up being a sweep when all is said and done on both sides. It's interesting. If you were to put a bet on the Miami Heat to sweep the Celtics and the Denver Nuggets to sweep the Lakers ahead of the series, your bets would be at plus 1,000 for the Nuggets and plus 4,000 for the Heat. Combining that takes it to plus 45,000. Means that a $100 bet would yield you
if you put money on that, props to you.
$45,000.
We have a recording before the finals start, right?
We what?
We do have we would record before the finals start.
I doubt it.
Because the finals start June 1st.
Yeah, we're going to record.
We're going to record before then.
Yeah.
So we can make bets in the following recording, like final bets for the finals.
We can all pray about it, really figure out what we want.
Oh, I guess you guys are right. I thought that it was it occurred just whenever both series were done. But June 1.
Yep.
Which is weird. Kind of weird.
Yeah, I mean, they're both going to, assuming that the Heat finish it out, they're both going to get at least 6 days rest. I think the Nuggets are going to get 9.
You get a full week off, and then you're taking a series that no one really wants to watch in the first place. Like, the NBA is really going to be like, please remember that we exist. Please. People's memories are going to be very short. They're going to be watching Michael Block.
Seriously.
Playing the Charles Schwab after this past weekend at the PGA Championship. I didn't know much about Michael Block. I can't imagine that anyone did. He's a golf pro, and that's all I know. And he hit a hole-in-one.
Where's the golf course where he works at?
Arroyo Grande? Is that the city in California?
That's who Pete Davidson dated in the past.
Arroyo Grande? That was Ariana Grande, actually.
Is it Arroyo Springs?
What state?
California.
Oh.
But yeah, I mean, I think, what is it? I think in the PGA Championship, they allow 20 PGA pros to come, course pros, the guys that teach you lessons and shit.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, what an incredible story. This guy is top 10 coming through into, I believe it was Saturday. Or coming into Sunday, they tell him he's getting paired up with Rory McIlroy.
Can't believe it.
And not only did he hit a hole-in-one, did you guys see the picture of how his ball was lodged in the cup?
No.
I saw that it was nothing but net. It didn't bounce.
Dunked it.
Maybe I can send you this picture, Pete. But essentially, it had come into the ground with so much force that it hit the green, and if you, I got to just send you the picture. He basically hit the green, went through the grass, the ball hit the side of the cup,
and was stuck,
dented it in.
He said, quote, absolutely destroyed the cup.
Yes. And there's a close-up image of it.
Was it stuck? Did he have to pull it out?
Yes. You can see when he bent over because I watched it live. I was watching it, and he bent over to pick it up, and he pulls his hand up, and the ball didn't come. And he had to go back down and grab it. It literally lodged in between the cup and the green.
I think I've got... No.
How old's this guy?
I think he's probably late 40s.
He looks young.
He was talking about how he charges $120 an hour. And he's like, yeah, I think I'm going to have to raise my prices after this.
120 is pretty common. It's a pretty average rate.
But you think about a guy who's
after he placed top 20. Yes,
he's with Rory McIlroy. If you got an hour session with Rory McIlroy, that's thousands of dollars, and the guy who's sinking a hole in one right next to him while Rory bogeys the hole is charging $150 or $120.
No,
that's
that's before crazy. This weekend, 120 is normal. I think I paid 120 for the pro at Red Tail, but now the guy will definitely charge way more.
He literally had a quote. Somebody was asking him about it. They're like, "It says on your website that you charge $120 an hour," and he goes, "Yeah, I think I might have to raise that to $150 after this week."
$150, wow. This was an incredible call. I'm not sure if they were on a tape delay or not. If they were covering this live, Jim Nance's call becomes so exponentially better.
This was Jim Nance?
Jim Nance was calling this, the PGA Championship. And
at the 15th.
On the 15th.
The fairy tale story gets better. A hole in one for Michael Black.
Let him go in, did it?
No way. No way. Rory, did it go in?
It sure did. Dunked it.
Absolutely dunked it.
Good for him.
The fairy tale story gets better.
But honestly, such an incredible story. And this guy was so self-aware. He was in an interview after he had finished the tournament, and he was like, "I am very aware that I am currently peaking in life."
A nightmare scenario for the PGA Championship to see Brooksy win. A liver.
Love it. I love it.
A freaking liver.
And Miguel just a couple weeks ago was like, "Oh yeah, if Braxton was going to give me a pick, he'd probably tell me Brooks Koepka. Probably would have worked out for you."
For the Masters. You can't be pulling shit for months ago.
Well, guess what? If you would have asked me this last week, who would you bet on? I would have said Brooks Koepka. And then you would have reverted back to your old opinions, which are wrong. Because guess what? Brooks Koepka, in 36 majors that he's played, half of them he's top 10.
Here's Braxton at home in his treasure box of sports takes. Here's 2 pieces of paper with the right ones and a stack of wrong ones, and he just can't wait to unlock it whenever he could pull the right pages out.
Yep. Yep. And this is one of them. I'm right. You're wrong. There's nothing you can do
Is
about
his
it.
bitter rival a live guy? Is DeChambeau a live guy?
They've kissed and made up.
They sure are. But
didn't Bryson place 6th or 7th or something like that?
He was 3 under for the.
He was top 10.
I think he was like top 15, maybe top 20.
But how many live guys were in top 10?
There was quite a few that played well. Oh, and that's the other thing, just to seal up this Michael Block story. Because he made that hole in one, he placed top 15. Top 15, he actually placed 15th, tied for 15th. Top 15 gets an automatic bid to the next year's.
Nice.
So now he gets to come back and play
And he's
again.
playing at the Charles Schwab this week.
Yes, he got invited.
What is an exemption
Yes.
to be able to do that? And then when it was a very touching video when they were calling him and inviting him, he was like, "If I think that what you're going to tell me is that you're inviting me, like, just let me start crying now."
Yeah.
So that was
very
really
cool story. I love shit like that.
Good
in
for
golf.
him.
It's the only sport where stuff like that can happen. I mean, the closest I think is like the reserve goalie in hockey.
Sure.
You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. Brooks Koepka won. Another, you've got DeChambeau as a liver at -3. He was tied for 4th. Davis, Corey Davis, is that his name? Not Charles Davis. He's in.
So Bryson and Brooks were top 5.
I didn't realize Bryson was that high up. I thought he was like top 15.
He sure was. He sure was.
The bitter rivals were top 5. Look at that.
They're good friends now.
Someone was heckling Bryson after he had hit a bad shot, and he just told the guy to shut the fuck up on a live air, live on the camera. This man did not win or even place in the PGA Championship, but he won all of our hearts. Was this drunk ass fan at the PGA Championship? Let's take a look at him.
Oh, he's had the garbage
just
plate.
finished off a garbage plate.
Let me tell you, if you're sitting down to a garbage plate, the last thing in the world you're contemplating is the caloric intake. All right? You're so far beyond what the calories are. The guy's got double buckets going. That's a first. I've never seen that. There we go.
If I were a spectator.
That's the shoes.
No follow-up needed.
There you go.
You just moved 10 feet away.
Going to the shade.
Back to the nap.
Honestly, after our experience at the Live tournament, if I was going to be at a golf tournament the entire day walking, I would take a nap for sure.
You would?
Oh, I would find a nice shady spot next to a creek.
We were by a creek. That was very relaxing.
Absolutely.
That was nice. We were in the shade
At the Pumpkin Ridge?
We were.
It was wonderful.
What's really funny is that this man who had the double bucket hats was devouring Rice Krispie treats. Apparently, he was tracked down on Reddit, and they were asking him about his...
Those weren't regular Rice Krispie treats, what it looks like.
Maybe not. Let me get my... Okay, so here are his responses. Man, things are real slow. Wait for it. Come on, So the question. So now that you've had a chance to digest it all, what are your thoughts on this whole thing? The guy, by the way, his name is Andy McWilliams. He's a Scottish former assistant golf pro. He says, I mean, all those years as a young assistant pro practicing, thinking one day I'd be on TV at the PGA Championship, and it happened, but for all the wrong fucking reasons. He says, what's your reaction to the video at this point? He said, at this point, I didn't get the whole video. I just am getting screen grabs. It's not the most flattering. I've actually lost 35 pounds. I've been on medication and a diet and stuff. I've actually lost a bunch of weight. And I saw it and I was like, I'm still a fat bastard. I've been posting for months. Look at all the weight I've lost and I'm still fat. So that was fucking soul destroying. My wife, she can't watch it. She said, you look like a very bad case just rolling around there. She just can't watch it.
Oh, no, we ruined this guy's life. I'm sorry, man.
Just after all that. And then
now he starts a TikTok. Make money.
Exactly. You know, it was like the guy who, well, this probably isn't an endorsement that he would want. There was that guy who was like watching Tiger Woods tee off and he just had the can of beer and he was the only one who didn't have the phone. I don't know if you guys saw that. He just like had like a...
What tournament?
Oh, I don't remember. It was like a year or two ago. Let's see. Man, beer, Tiger Woods.
Man, beer, Tiger.
Man, beer, Tiger.
Man, beer, Tiger.
You guys remember... What was that fucking show during COVID? Tiger King.
Tiger King.
What the fuck was that?
Yeah. Well, this guy. So you have all of these people who are with their phones, but there he is just soaking it all in, right? He ended up getting a beer endorsement out of this from this beer company, whatever it was. I was thinking that maybe our Scottish friend could get like a Rice Krispies treat endorsement, but since he's lost all that weight, probably doesn't want that. It'll just be
Diet Rice Krispies.
That's what you call,
Diet Rice Krispies.
As Miguel would say, being present.
Yes, very present.
That guy wasn't drowning in technology.
Yeah,
he was drowning in beer.
I'm going to save this for next week. Best quarterback in college since 2000. Let's talk about that next week because we're running a little bit low on time. The final thing before we get out of here.
Lit.
Tom Brady buying a minority stake in the Las Vegas Raiders. There had been rumors about his connection to the Raiders and whether or not he was going to try and play there, apparently. Not anytime recently, but just kind of before all of the dominoes fell. But kind of interesting because, like, this is coming on the heels of, like, Tom Brady. Maybe there were rumors that he was going to just back out of his deal with Fox and he was just going to let Greg Olson do the broadcasting. But, like, now if you're a minority owner, can you, like, call games, or would you just never call Raiders games? Would you want to be at Raiders games all the time since now you're a partial owner? Very confused by it all.
Why do they call successful white males minority owners? Seems wrong.
That's what you got out of this?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's honestly what this is all about.
Why would he pick the Raiders? What is it? What's the tie with the Raiders?
I don't know. It's just Mark Davis.
Does he live in Las Vegas?
He loves old balding white men.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. I'm just thinking about. I mean, there was that story that came out about all the collusion and stuff with the Miami Dolphins and whether or not he was going to be a minority owner with the Dolphins, but now he can't go do that because of all of the, fines and sanctions and all that.
But I just feel like there's so many teams ahead of the Raiders that I don't see I don't see the, what word am I looking for?
Appeal?
I don't see the connection with him and the Raiders. Like, if it wasn't the Dolphins, he lives in Florida. It wasn't Jacksonville, lives in Florida.
Like, I mean, Michael Jordan bought the Bobcats and the Hornets or
but
whatever.
He's from North Carolina. There's a connection there. He's from North Carolina.
He got
like
me
if
there.
Tom Brady
got me.
Tom Brady's
Got
from California, why not the Niners? Like, what is the connection with the Raiders?
Probably because the opportunity wasn't there.
Well, I guess, if he was in California, he was in the Bay Area. It used to be Oakland. So, technically.
That's enough of a reach for me. That makes sense.
I think the Raiders just have
really
have the
Michael
most
Jordan
opportunity
thing,
with their growth in new city. Vegas, I think, is growing as a sports town. I think it's a good move business-wise.
You'd have to have, like, owners that are interested in it, too.
And
Mark
it's a
Davis
great place to have a vacation home.
He becomes part owner. He waits for Jimmy G to fail, then he steps in.
Right
Ooh. Owner, player, coach.
Player, owner, coach.
He's just running back and forth on the sideline, putting on the headset, taking it off, going to snap the ball.
And he's calling the game from the booth.
That's a lot, Tom.
That's a lot, Tom.
Yeah. It's color commentary, just like on the field.
Yeah, it's good save the quarterback college one because I feel like that'll go a while.
Mariota. That's the only answer I have.
Yeah, we're gonna hold off on best quarterbacks. There was a list that came out, ESPN Plus, a little clickbaity, but we'll debate it next week.
Clear eyes.
Full hearts.
Can't lose.